Well, good morning, people. We got some coffee made and we're headed to the mountain. And I just had a few thoughts I wanted to share with y'all this morning. And one of which is, why in the world would anyone want to hunt coyotes in the mountains? And that is a very good question. And my only response to that is you dance with the one you brought. And what I mean by that is I was raised on hunting in these mountains here in Virginia, and with my brothers and my dad's friends and some of their kids. We all just grew up learning to hunt in the mountains, and it's not an easy place to hunt. Oftentimes, it involves a good bit of exertion to get to where you're going, and but yeah, I, why hunt them in the mountains? Well, it's because it's where I enjoy hunting them, and the mountains just kind of gravitate. They just grab a part of your soul and won't let go, and it's hard for me to even get excited about hunting them out in the farmland. Most of my buddies and friends, they do hunt them out in the farmland, and they hunt them at night with thermals and night vision, and man, they have a blast, and they kill way more coyotes than I do, and that's great. Good for them. Uh, I'm not trying to take anything away from what they're doing, because they're just hunting the ground that they grew up hunting, and so yeah. But I prefer going after them, chasing them up here in the mountains, and it makes me sharpen my woodsman skills even more so than deer hunting. But you can liken it to going after big bucks on the big woods, because that is pretty much the same type of creature that you're trying to interact with. And oftentimes, I will tell you, oftentimes big bucks and coyotes are often found in very similar locations, and sometimes the same location. Um, and the reason that is because both of them are very adept at choosing ground that is almost impenetrable to the human uh, trying to kill them. So they've got the wind advantage, they've got elevation advantages, they've got food and resource advantages that enable them to stay put and not move during daylight hours. So yeah, it makes it challenging. And just like with deer hunting, you got to learn to read sign. You got to learn to know where that sign should be expected to be at. And so yeah, it gets pretty exciting. One of the things I'd like to say, that if you're interested in hunting public ground in your state, in your neck of the woods, and how do you go about finding these critters? How do you go about finding the coyotes in your area, and how do you go about hunting them? The first tip I'd give you would be, you want to find the water. It can be rivers, it can be freshwater lakes, wherever you have an abundance of water. Long running a long running river is multiple locations where a coyote all along that river can get water or sustenance. So whenever water enables variability in coyotes' life, that's great habitat, as long as you got good cover and there's adequate food. The water is the most important thing. So if you can find the water and work out from there, great. That's a good starting point. Second of all is, how do the transportation systems of humans, railroads, highway and road systems, how do they relate to that water? So when you have a long running river that's a good size and never runs dry, and there's a road down there along it, and all the roads that come off of that road that split off up into the mountains to go up into the public ground, those are travel ways. And the larger the river system is, the more important those bridges are. And those bridges allow coyotes to quickly cross the river, move over into new locations, and spread their existence out among the public land. So number one is rivers or lakes, particularly if you have a large lake or a series of lakes or a series of good freshwater spring-fed ponds. How do those ponds relate to the public ground that you're hunting? And how do the little fire roads and trails relate to that water? Is that water easy to get to? Are there multiple sources of water? All of that kind of feeds into what makes good coyote habitat. Third is the food sources. And if you're hunting public ground, most of the time you're going to have a good bit of forest involved, right? You got big woods, you got forest, you might have some fields and some CRP bordering the forest, but most of the time you're talking about forest. Well, within those forests, oftentimes, if it's public ground, like national forest or wildlife management areas or state hunting grounds, there's been some sort of management of that land to the point where the trees have been harvested and you've got clear cuts. And if you know anything about clear cuts and hunting deer absolutely prefer clear cuts. They absolutely love clear cuts. And so do coyotes. So if you're looking to find coyotes in your neck of the woods, in your state, you want to find where are the largest tracts of public land that are going to give you the greatest opportunity to spread out and do your thing looking for coyotes. And then how does water relate to that public ground? Does that public ground have large water systems, fail-proof water systems, good creeks that don't run dry, good freshwater lakes, or major river system? And then what kind of roads or trails help coyotes meander and walk through that public ground and get around? Now, they'll use trails in the woods too. The coyotes love forest trails. They like blacktop roads. They'll run the roads at night when nobody's around. And roads make it possible for them to get around. The nice thing about roads is a coyote can walk a road at night making very little leaf noise and foot noise so that he can hear what's out in front of him and critters and stuff along the road. There's plenty of food along roads, overgrown banks. That's just like a Golden Corral buffet right there. So coyotes love roads, but they also love clear cuts. Clear cuts add a real advantage. There was a study back in the 90s that I read, and one of the researchers, don't remember how he got to this conclusion, but one of the findings from his study was that on average, a coyote ate its first meal within 30 minutes of getting up out of its bed. So that tells you right there that they do not have to go far away from their bedding cover in order to find food. Well, one of the most food dense areas in the national forest are clear cuts. So find the water, find the roadways, and then find the human impacts on the ground, like clear cuts, CRP fields. How do all those things intersperse throughout the hunting ground? And that's where you want to start, your search for these critters. And coyotes are real edge animals. They love working edges, and it can be the edge of a road, the edge of a railroad grade, which are always grown up and thick. There's a right of way there that seldom ever gets mowed. There's just tons. There's groundhogs. There's rabbits and mice and little digging voles and all kinds of stuff along railroad grades. But riverbanks, again, full of food, often overgrown. Field edges that border up against the riverbank, those are often left to grow over, and they contain rabbits and all kinds of food. Edges give cover. Also, coyotes can work an edge at night out in the open, or they can travel through the thick part of the edge during the daytime. So coyotes are very much edge creatures. And so when you're in the mountains, you got to look for edges. You might have steep hillsides that create a place where no human or any other dangerous critter like a bear or something like that, they just can't access the coyotes, and they'll use a river edge or a cliff edge as a backstop to protect their backside. And so I'll do another video at some point on edges and how to hunt edges and whatnot. But yeah, it's not that difficult of a thing to do. You just have to set your mind to it. It's good to have good expectations of success, but at the same time, you got to be a little realistic. You are hunting most of the time during daytime and trying to locate where these animals are bedding, and then get in close to them and call them in and kill them. And that's one of the reasons why I love to hunt in the mountains, because the action is always fast, it's close, and you're eye to eye, mano a mano with these things, sitting on the ground or standing behind a tree or something, and you have the opportunity to take these things at less than 20 yards most of the time. So yeah, that's why I do it. It's very challenging. I'd say it's as challenging as going after a giant buck, and that's what makes it fun. So yeah, hopefully you can come along on this journey with me and see what I'm doing. Maybe there's something you can glean from what I'm doing. I'm by no means an expert. I'm open to opinions of others, and as far as I'm concerned, we're all out here just learning from each other. So maybe there's something that I encounter that you'll see on one of the videos that helps you. Maybe there's something that that I don't know, and I appreciate if you would leave a comment and say, hey, have you ever thought about this? Because I'm an open book, man. I'm just trying to figure out how to zone in on these things and get more of them on the ground. So it's a blast. Yeah, I'm getting close to the trailhead here, so I'm going to have to sign off, but I hope you guys have a good day and be safe, man.